I'm joined by 23rd District Representative Stephen Weber. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Appreciate it.
First off, you've got about 15 days left till the end of your first term as a representative. How's it been so far?
It's been good. It's been a learning experience. It's gone by quickly. The last few months, it seems like it's flown by. And the last couple of weeks sort of have a reputation for being the most chaotic, the most policy actually being done. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the last 2 weeks are gonna bring.
Can you take us through your first term?
Yeah, it got off to a slow start, and one of the frustrating things about being a freshman, when you first come down there, you have all these ideas and you want to jump on everything, and but it takes a while for the whole process to develop. It takes a while for bills to be filed, and then to be assigned to committee, and then heard in committee, and then passed out of committee. So the first couple of months, you're just kind of anxious to get going and to bring all these issues up. And now, it's also been interesting because certain things happen at certain times. The budget in March, the House does the budget. It's got to be done by May 8th. The first couple months, you're working almost purely as the Missouri House, and now we're starting to deal with Senate bills. So everything has a certain time through the process. And in my first year, I think until you've gone through that whole year, things are still. Every day something's new. It's either the first time you dealt with the Senate bill, or the first time you dealt with the conference committee report, or the first time you dealt with the budget. So it's been interesting sort of to watch how that's developed over the course of the year.
And I would assume for aspiring politicians, it's a great place to get started.
Oh, it's a great opportunity to learn. I mean, the policy issues, issues that you don't deal with during a campaign. Every day there's a different policy issue that affects a certain part of the state that I never really thought about or wasn't aware of. Learning the procedures and the rules of the House, the learning curve is incredibly steep, and you learn a tremendous amount in a short period of time.
You also learn the nastiness of all of it
That's
as
true.
well.
Yes.
So what are some of the big projects you've gotten behind?
I think probably the thing I'm most excited about this year is that we were able to pass a budget that held the university funding steady, and it didn't require a tuition increase. Governor Nixon worked really hard on that early in session and hammered out a deal where he agreed to hold that funding steady. And for the first time in a long time, really anyone's memory, there's not going to be any tuition increase for students at the university. And to me, that's sort of the biggest accomplishment so far of this year. There's a few other things out there we're still working on, but that's the best news so far to come out of the session, I think.
And students will probably appreciate that very much.
and parents too, probably, yeah.
Getting more to the nasty side of things, can you take us through what's going on with the Ellis Fischel Cancer Center?
Yeah, it's it depends what time of day you're talking about it, because it's a perfect example of how the process works. Ellis Fischel has been a project we've been working on, as a Columbia delegation for years, before even this year, before I got down there. And this year we put it in 2 or 3 different bills, trying to get it through the process. And just in the last 7 days, at the end of last week, it was in a bill, and that bill was killed. And then they brought in a new bill, and Ellis Fischel was in that bill. And then on Monday, it was taken out of the bill. On Wednesday, it was put back in the bill. On Thursday, the entire bill died. Was voted down. So it's been in and out and in and out. And we've got a couple other places we're trying to get it in. There's a bonding issue right now that passed the House and it's in the Senate that would provide money for construction on campuses across the state. If we can get that bill passed, then Ellis Fischel will be beneficial. Will benefit from that money. But it's been a real education in how the process works, or sometimes doesn't work.
Sure. And is it just this bouncing back and forth? How is the public supposed to understand this? I mean,
yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, no, it's why people don't like politics. They read their papers on Monday that it was taken out, on Wednesday that it was done, on Thursday that it wasn't done.
Is it just cutting through things, adding things into the bill, taking things out?
Yeah,
is that what's been happening?
It is, and it can be very frustrating. But it really, actually, that's the way the process was designed. The process is designed to be difficult. It's designed to be slow, and that's intentional. That's why we have 2 houses. It's why we have different committees and different votes, because we really want to vet things thoroughly. And in this case, it's unfortunate because it's holding up a worthy project. But It's just how the the sausage is made. It's how bills are passed, that things are added as an amendments and they're taken out, and just because it gets into a bill doesn't mean that bill is going to pass finally. So it can be very confusing to the public. And like yesterday, people were coming up congratulating me for getting Ellis Fischel back into the House Bill 22, and I had to tell them, unfortunately, we had gotten it back in, and then the entire bill had died. So.
At least you're keeping them informed.
Yeah, I'm trying to, but it can be very difficult. It's frustrating for people when an important project like this that's been, jerked around for years to have it in and out in a week is difficult.
How do you feel about Republicans on your House Rules Committee cutting funding to Ellis Fischel Hospital because of your walkout due to an appropriations bill in the committee?
Mm-hmm. It's a difficult, sort of an inside baseball, sort of what happened. Basically what happened is that the House Republicans wanted to pass a budget bill and couldn't get that budget bill out of their committee, the Budget Committee. This is a committee they control, but it was such an unpopular bill that leadership couldn't get it the version they wanted, so they decided to skip the Budget Committee, which they're not allowed to do. So they broke the rules, and they sent it to Rules Committee, which I'm on. And sort of as a protest, because we think it's inappropriate to break the House rules and just to bypass the Budget Committee. And you may not get the bill you want out of the Budget Committee, but it's the bill that the elected representatives who serve on that committee have decided to put together. So as a protest, we walked out. And when we did that, the majority decided to take Ellis Fischel out of there as an attempt to punish me, since I'd walked out with the rest of the Democrats. To me, that was an incredibly vindictive, really petty thing to do. We have an honest disagreement on the process. They have more votes on Rules Committee. They're going to pass the version that they want anyway, with or without our input. And they broke the rules. We called them on it, and then their response was to try to punish people with cancer and cancer victims. And I don't understand that. I'm glad that since then we managed to get it back in on the floor, and then the bill promptly died. But that's an example of people taking politics way too personally and not looking out for the best interest of the state, I think.
And you just answered my next question about if it's becoming too politicized, although it seemed like they did have some alternative cancer plans for other places throughout the states. This one, would you agree, is one of the biggest, however?
Yeah, this is a statewide, they have a statewide function there at Ellis Fischel. It's important to Columbia, certainly. It's important to the university, certainly. But it serves the entire state. I mean, folks from, northeast Missouri, from southwest Missouri, come and receive treatment here. And I think sometimes one problem we have is when people get angry and they do things to hurt another politician politically or personally, and there's repercussions for the citizens of Missouri. And I think this is a good example of people just getting angry and doing something that's not in the best interest of the state just to try to score some political points. So I was disappointed with that.
Did you expect it?
No, I mean, we didn't at all. We had a conversation, and they had told us actually they weren't going to take any of our amendments on the budget bill, which is why, the reason we walked out is we thought we were breaking the rules. We didn't want to participate in a meeting that wasn't, in accordance with House rules. And then when you're told that your amendments aren't going to be taken anyway, basically they wanted us to sit there and to ram it, ram it through the committee. And so we said, well, why would we even be part of this? And so we walked out, and then they decided to take it out on cancer patients, which was stunning to me. But we've got 2 more weeks, and we'll move on from it.
Very well. How are things going with the military bills that you're sponsoring?
Well, we're still trying to get them on. I've had a hearing on one of them. It was actually, we died in Veterans Committee. I think it's probably another example of the process being more political than policy-oriented.